Okay, so last night, Clay and I watched Madagascar 3, and I made. So the first one I've called Madagascar. Again, I'll say it every time, it's a low hanging fruit joke. It's not something that's super clever, but it's something that I think is really accurate. I don't think it's that good. I don't like the way it looks. Like everyone just has this weird plasticky sheen to it. Half your main cast of like Melman and Gloria, I think, are just kind of there and don't really do much for me. I think the penguins are really funny, like when they're on screen, but then you have the lemurs, who I think are aggressively unfunny. Marty is the main character the first half of the movie, and he's okay. Alex is the main character the second half of the movie, and I actually think that's really interesting, but I just don't think the movie is that funny. There's some good jokes. It's not that I'm like, oh, this is Shark Tale, but it's okay. It really is mid as fuck. Madagascar 2. Okay, like they're really trying to give something to every character. I think what they're doing with Marty is interesting. I wish this was the main conflict of the movie, because this is actually fascinating. Alex's thing is like, yeah, I feel like I've seen this kind of story before a gajillion times. Like, it's fine. Okay, like the human survivors, like the old lady, that's really funny. The penguins are really funny again. The lemurs are still not funny. It does have Moto Moto that's like, girl, you huge, you rotund. Like, that's really funny to me. And it's like, it's not awful. I like it more than the first one, but I feel like it's still fine. It's okay. I probably would not go out of my way to watch Madagascar 2 or Madagascar 1. I would go out of my way to watch Madagascar 3. I really liked it. I was like, okay, we finally got the good one. We got the one that made me go, I kind of wish I had seen this on the big screen. Which is not something I have at all thought about the first two. Like, yeah, they're fine. I'm not missing much by not watching them, but I guess I'm glad I saw them. I was like, okay, I really liked this one. It's so much more colorful and energetic. Which is one thing I will say. It's like, the movies actually tend to have a lot of energy. Like, even when I didn't like the look, I liked the animation. Here, it's like, the movie, like, just started, and I'm like, this movie already looks way better. It's like the shading, the lighting, and then there's times, like, especially during the big circus performance, like, it's so colorful. I'm like, oh, okay, I already like the movie a lot more. I didn't think the penguins were as funny in this movie. Like, there was still like a couple lines here and there, but overall, I was like, I don't know what it is, because it wasn't like, oh man, I'm tired of their shtick. It was just, I don't think their writing was as funny as it was in the first two, but it wasn't awful by any means. I really like what they do with the monkeys, like they're basically doing a Muppet Man, Vincent Adult Man thing as the Prince of Versailles. It's like, I kind of liked that bit. I have to say, King Julian's really funny in this movie, and I think a lot of it, because at one point I looked at Clay, I was like, Clay, he's really funny, and he's not talking. Maybe that's the secret. And I think that he actually had a few lines, like his relationship with the bear. I'm like, I'm actually enjoying this. This is kind of funny. The part where they're having the big chase scene at the start of the movie with Capitaine Dubois, who, we'll put a pin in her. But, as this big-ass fucking chase scene is happening, and King Julian ends up, like, falling off a building, and then everyone's like, oh! And then Maurice, I think, is the Cedric the Entertainer lemur, is just kind of like, huh? And he just gets this smile on his face when he realizes he's dead. I don't have to see him anymore. I don't have to deal with his bullshit. And I had the same smile on my face at that point in the movie. And Clay and I were just howling with laughter. It's like, that to me is the funniest thing in the entire series. It's just that elation when he thinks the king is dead. And then when he sees that the king has been saved, basically like a Back to the Future 2, I don't want to say ripoff because that makes it sound more rude, but like something very much out of like Back to the Future 2. And then he just realizes the king is alive, and he goes from, yeah, to, aww. And it's that dejected frown, which is how I felt seeing that Julian would still be in the movie. But like I said, they actually made him funny. Let's take the pen out. Let's talk about Captain Dubois. I can't say she's the funniest thing in the movie because I just said what the funniest joke in the movie is, but she's the funniest character in the movie. This bitch is fucking crazy. Every time she is on screen, whatever she is saying, whatever she is doing, I am so consistently entertained. They have a big freaking fishy oil slick while she's on a scooter, so she just seamlessly puts the scooter over her head and just starts surfing on the fucking thing. There's a part where she's like hanging on to them like the end of Chicken Run, and yeah, they literally cut her down like it's the end of Chicken Run. I'm like, I see you, DreamWorks. I appreciated that. I appreciated the callback. And she's in a building and she's just running through walls like stone and brick like it's nothing. It's not even like, all right, I gotta punch through. She's like, nope, just like casually going through it like she's the T-1000. That was amazing. That was hilarious. You just see her like scuttling, crawling on the ground. You see like the way she escapes from prison. It's like, that's actually really clever and really funny. She ends up like singing this opera song to her droogs who are all in the hospital, and they all just miraculously heal at the sound of her voice. She's great. I was like, yeah, like it's no question she's the best antagonist in these movies. Like, was there a villain in the first movie? Not really. Like there was the like coyote whatever things, but like, there's not really a villain in the second movie. You got the Alex Baldwin lion who's fine. He's not very funny. He's not very interesting. He's okay. Then you have the old lady who I think is really funny, but it's like, okay, here we have an antagonist who is hilarious, absolutely insane, genuinely entertaining whenever she's just like moving, and actually a competent threat. Bravo, Madagascar 3. Like, she's great. Your new character, I will say, the thing I really noticed is I felt like the old characters felt like they were kind of getting phased out. Like I said, like the penguins are here, but I just didn't think they were that funny. 2 of the 3 lemurs don't really do anything, which not like they really did a whole lot in the other movies anyways. Alex still feels like he is part of the movie. Marty doesn't really feel like a character anymore. He's just kind of like he does hit a couple bits, but that's it. Melman and Gloria are now a thing, but like that's kind of it. They don't really have like let me put it another way. Madagascar 2, I realized all 4 of you have a story arc. How much they focused on it, how interesting there it was, like I talked about in the second one, but here it's Alex does, the other 3 just kind of don't. The one thing Marty has the circus, Afro circus, Afro circus, Afro, and I fucking hated it. Because I remember seeing that everywhere when the movie was coming out and all the trailers. I'm like, this is annoying. This isn't that funny. Like, I think it's like in small doses. It's like the first time, like, okay, it's kind of funny. And then when they just keep doing it, I'm like, please stop. Please stop. And then at the end of the movie, when they're doing the like, I like to move it, and they're also doing the circus Afro, I'm like, oh, thank God it's over. But I don't want to say that because the movie was really good, but please stop. I guess it's less of a thank God it's over, and it's a, oh no, it's over. No, I have to listen to this shit. Please stop. Please stop. Can I just use Bites the Dust and go back to the start of the movie? But the new characters, aside from Dubois, we've got Stefano, the seal of average intelligence, possibly slightly below, played by Martin Short, doing an Italian accent. And the entire time I was like, why do I know that voice? Why do I know that scream? Like, that's so familiar. And I saw Martin Short in the cast, like, that's why. That explains it. I liked him. I thought he was entertaining. I thought he was funny. I remember a good friend of mine, because I think she was telling me years ago, she's like, yeah, Madagascar 3 is really good. I'm like, I don't believe it. One sucked. I haven't seen 2. I don't believe it's actually that good. She's like, okay, but there's this one bit with the freaking sea lion where he's like, yeah, I'm an average intelligence, maybe even slightly below. And I remembered that. And so when the bit happened, it's like, I remember that joke. That's actually pretty funny. And immediately my brain went, but nobody's smart but me. That's my boy Rumpelstiltskin. I liked him. What was her name? The the cat that wasn't Vitaly the tiger. I don't remember what her name was. I feel kind of bad, but she went to the Trapeze Americano. And yeah, I liked her. I thought like her interactions with Alex were sweet. It was fun. Every time I looked at her, though, I was like, this reminds me a lot of the cat boss from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I just couldn't, because she also does like a circus trapeze thing. I was like, Claraline, I think was her name. And like this is now really familiar, and I actually think that's a really fun boss. I'm just now remembering Crazy Dillo, or whatever his name was, who had the freaking pinky and the brain bug eyes. Like, oh gosh, I love that game so much. It's so good. And you have Vitaly, the as the penguins keep calling him the Ruski, which one joke I really liked from them is, never thought I'd say this on American soil, but the Ruski is right. Like, I liked that one. The Russian tiger voiced by Bryan Cranston, who's an actually pretty interesting character. Like, yeah, I like his story, I like his arc. Again, it's like I've seen this kind of thing before, but I still liked it. I still enjoyed it. I also like, it's like, he just looks like Tony the Tiger. I'm okay with this. Hey, Clay, you remember that Meat Canyon episode where he was trying to lose weight and then Tony the Tiger convinced him to just eat more sugary cereal? But, I think there was something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember what it was. I don't think I really said this, so I really need to. The scene where they actually do their full, like, big circus performance is really good. I really enjoyed it. That was a moment. I don't know if there were other points where I thought this, but I was like, I actually kind of wish I had seen this on the big screen. This would have made me feel like I felt like I would have gotten my money's worth from that alone, and the rest of the movie is also really good. I do like the ending. So, I mean, I feel like whenever I do these, I just kind of talk about the movie, like full spoilers. I never give a spoiler warning, so I guess I should, just in case. Spoilers for the rest of the movie, spoilers for the ending. Is they go back to the zoo and then just say, we really don't want to be here anymore. You know, our whole thing in, the first movie was Marty wanted to go see the world, and then in the second movie, we just really wanted to go home. And Alex in the first movie also really wanted to go home, and now we are, and there's a line I actually really like with Velma and Gloria. It's like, hey, was that wall always between us? Yeah. And Marty's like, guys, I'm sorry we left the zoo. I'm sorry I ever wanted to leave. Like, why? Well, because if we hadn't left, we wouldn't feel so sad now that we're back here. Like, I actually really liked that. Like, I bought it. Like, I could kind of see where it was going at one point. I was like, once we're getting to the liar revealed part, which I didn't like, I'm not going to lie, I was like, this is pretty weak. At least we don't focus on it a whole lot. But I liked what they did with it with those characters. Like, yeah, we were able to kind of be ourselves and, live a little, see the world, and we're not going to be able to do that if we go back home. I mean, as long as we got the four of us, it's home, right? Fuck it, you want to just go back to the circus? We're able to travel the world, we're having fun, we're discovering new things about ourselves. Let's just do that. And then, El Capitan Dubois shows up, and then you get to a climax, which is a fun climax. But I was like, yeah, this third act breakup is kind of shitty, but I kind of like what we ended up doing with it. Easily the best Madagascar movie. To me, I don't think I would say this is a double S tier contender. I feel like I could say it's an S tier movie. I feel like I can. It was just so consistently entertaining, so consistently funny. I had way too good of a time watching it that I can't be like, yeah, but, because there really isn't one. The closest I have, again, is like, yeah, the third act breakup was kind of weak, but it was not super focused on, and yeah, you do end up getting a really good scene as a result of it, so It's an S tier movie. I'd say it's probably around the top 10-ish right now. I don't know if it'll stay, because I really don't know a lot of them, because I feel like a lot of the movies that are coming up aren't ones that make me go, whoa, that's got Rise of the Guardians is next, which I've seen. I remember really liking. I'm excited to rewatch that one. But then like Turbo, Home, the Boss Baby movies, the Spirit sequel, they could be great. I haven't seen them, but I'm not looking forward to them. I don't have high hopes. Like there's two Croods movies, and I don't know, but they're directed by one of the guys that did How to Train Your Dragon and one of the guys that did Lilo and Stitch. So I'm like, well, I like those. Maybe these will actually be good. Like, we'll see. I think we now have, like, 19 movies left, which is crazy thing is like, we've seen so many movies. What do you mean we're only, like, halfway done? But this was a good one. This was a really good one.